responses and what the regular day-to-day is going to be like. So because of that, tonight's episode is going to be programming for magic and really listening and looking with intent and doing all of these things on purpose. So one of the things a lot of people seem to forget is, as human beings, right, we're this biological computer system, right? This is, whether you like it or not, is, still the reality of the situation. So because of that, like any other computer program, you are essentially programmed to follow certain triggered responses, right? When you have an algorithm, without getting too technical, but when you have certain things or programs set up in a computer, you can have it to where, if this name shows up, it'll filter it this way, or if this shows up. And really what that is just a type of trigger. And this type of trigger for that computer system will automatically fulfill and execute X amount of other programs and or ideas if you set it up that way. Now, being that your brain and your body are this gigantic electrical system, right? That's what it is. There are ways, and some people call it neurolinguistic programming, and there's entire trainings for that, but you can actually learn how to do this on your own. And so tonight, what I want to talk to you guys about is just the way to kind of reprogram, not just your mind, but really your entire being, your day-to-day, your structure, your schedule, your friends, your family, to where everything you're doing has so much intent behind it and so much direct practice that there's no possible way that you cannot create and meet these realities of your higher best self for what it is that you would like to find. So before we get into that, I kind of want to break down a couple of different little examples and kind of tell you how even the show ended up being this tonight. Generally for Alchemy 101, which if you've been with us before, Steven just joined us in the channel on YouTube. How you doing, brother? So like him, if you've been with us for a while, the idea is always to have not just self-improvement for yourself and not even necessarily improvement for financial gain, but really the idea is to have overall improvement for a more symbiotic, synchronistic lifestyle with all the life that we have on this amazing planet and plane that we're in right now. So that's kind of the idea. With Alchemy 101, this is the online radio version of the Order of Alchemy, which is another online course that I've been working on and so on. But the reason I bring that up is I have this amazing fairy friend that's in town visiting me that I met at one of these festivals that I always talk about so much on air. And while we've been up here, we've been talking about all sorts of different, secrets and implementations and ideas and wordplay and all these different things just to really get down to the root of what it is we really are and what we really are capable of. So while we're talking today, and there's been so many times where we've brought this up on air, that I noticed that I guess the best way to put it would be they wanted to figure out how to have these type of triggered responses or how all these things seem to always work out. And what I was explaining to her was every single thing I do has a high level of intent behind it. And hopefully by the end of tonight, I can give you guys some like best practices, even a bit of homework, things like that you can do. And, please follow up. You can contact me either on the YouTube channel at mistech.net. You can contact me there as well. And, there's things I like to follow up. And really, the idea is to help you guys get to where you need to be so you can be free and independent and really be your authentic, higher best self. Okay. So let me preface with this. When you're having a conversation with someone, okay, this is always supposed to be a two-way ideal if you're communicating the correct way. Okay, now what's really important about this, and I cannot stress this enough, is in 2018, for sure by now, and even when I was growing up, I remember the difference of how it used to be to how it is now. And if you've ever seen the meme or the quote or the book or even the context, and this is really important, guys, the context of what you're communicating with people has to be the bread and butter of your communication. The words and being hung up on these little triggers is where discord and discommunication comes from. Okay, so when you're listening to someone speak, right, in 2018, generally the way it works is you listen in order to respond. You don't really listen in order to take in the information or the context of what it is that you're being offered. You are simply waiting for an opportunity for the person to slow down long enough for you to be able to add in your 2 cents, whether your 2 cents is actually relevant to the overall context of what they were saying or not. So tonight we're going to kind of break these things down. And Judith, hi, how you doing? Love you too. Thank you for joining us tonight on the channel. And so I don't know, it's one of these things that I really do feel that if you can get these little things implemented, your overall day will become so seamless with what you say, with what you do, and really what it is that you're trying to accomplish. Because guys, don't let anyone trick you. Okay. And I've had this conversation with a handful of people in real life. And if you're on there listening right now, you can't say anything right now. You are not responsible for what you hear other people say. Okay. I'm going to say this again, guys. You are not responsible for what other people hear you say. Now, as a human being, and your job as a communicator, as an educator, as a student, as all these things that you are in your being, which is everything. You are so much everything. And whatever you decide that you are right now, or this day, or this week, or this month, that is who and what you are. It's always an option. It's always a choice. It's this constant changing, evolving, amazing mechanic that you have while you're in this little human flesh suit. It's incredible. So when you're talking to somebody, right, and say they've never been outside of, let's pick a random place. Like they've never been outside of New Zealand, right? So they've never heard of an orange, right? Let's say you're talking about an orange. Now, in your mind, you're explaining your favorite breakfast fruits. And you're like, yeah, for breakfast, I get up and have what everyone usually has for breakfast, get you going. It's full of vitamin C, all these things. And because of where they're from, they have no idea that you're talking about an orange. Now, on your end, you're assuming that this person has the exact same information, exact same value system, exact same understanding to everything that you're trying to convey. So at this point, this can be on you a little bit, but this is why it's also really important to speak clearly and concisely and always your ultimate truth. Don't sugarcoat. That'll give people mental cavities, and then there's new spaces to fill, and no one likes that. But so you're trying to express this fruit, and if they've never heard of it, they're listening for what you're saying, but that's not registering in their brain. Okay. Now, on the other hand, say that they do know what an orange is, but maybe they're allergic or they had a terrible experience. So even when you're talking about breakfast, they immediately shut that out. That's not what you possibly could be talking about. And this can create discord and anger and issues and arguments on literally something that simple. So as you're communicating, as you're outputting your inner knowledge, your inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it, when you're putting that out, the people that are trying to receive it aren't always trying to receive what it is that you're trying to express. Okay. And vice versa, right? This is a huge thing, guys. It's more of an internal thing than an external thing, but it's very important that you understand the context of what we're talking about. And in my opinion, anytime you are considering things, self-application, especially in the worst possible ways, is the best way that you can really reflect on the information, because you're going to be your harshest critic. Now, this is another thing that's really huge. Okay. When you're speaking ultimate truths, it's very important that you're being honest with yourself. Okay, because we all have the ability, and if you haven't been trained for it, that's on you. So if you say no, I haven't, well, yes, you just haven't had the opportunity and or desire to learn how to do this. But everyone has the ability to manipulate and exaggerate the truth to an extent, right? Now, there's 2 types of people, and I think even when it comes into science and metaphysics and different tiers of that, this communicative thing I'm about to break down is where I see the wall, right? And this is where and why I chose to go after the metaphysics, spiritual aspect more than just the science. Okay, so just the science says that if you say the color red, it's this color red, right? There's not a lot of room for interpretation. And that is fine. That's okay. But if you're talking about the context and don't say the color red, you can still get your point across. So active listeners and people that are wanting to be engaged in your knowledge and your truth, and they want to grow and they want to evolve, they will, as I talked about with the show, listen for the magic. They will listen for the intent. They will listen for the context of what it is that you're trying to convey to them. Okay, so consider that when you're talking with people and it seems to be that they're getting spacey, right? They're getting confused. They don't know what's what, right? There's arguments, there's red flags, there's some type of blockage. Instead of going over it 15,000 different versions and angles, take the consideration that maybe they're not trying to hear what it is that you're saying. And that's okay, right? But the thing is when you understand that, then your level of anxiety and frustration will go way, way, way down, right? The way that I was expressing it to Penelope was it's like a bunch of giant zombie babies that the world seems to have developed, and they're all looking for brains, and none of them are old enough to walk or talk, and they all want to poop their pants. So you can't get upset about that. You just have to understand the audience that you're trying to convey. Now, I'm not saying that there's not intelligent people out there. There's not people that want growth, but these are things that you have to consider. Is what you're saying trying to reveal ultimate truths that are your higher truths? Or are you just playing along with the same game everyone else is, having no idea what it is that you're talking about and just trying to exaggerate and stretch the truth? And that's okay. If you're trying to get your message across and the only way that you can understand how terrifying it was like a freaking T-Rex came around the corner and was going to eat me. Okay, obviously that's probably not going to happen, but contextually, okay, I'm a lot more scared now. I understand what you're saying. So one of the things that's made me, I don't know, successful, happy, free, love, whatever you want to call it, is I have this ability to default to the best possible version of what this person is trying to say that could benefit me. Right. And this is what I'm saying, guys, like, listen to this. Consider listening to all the people that you're talking about or talking with, that everything they're doing and saying, even if it's not, that it's there for whatever the best possible version of whatever it is that they're saying could be. Now, what's weird about this is the moment you do that, all of your conversations will immediately change. They will immediately almost slow down to where it sounds like you're talking at a specific speed and tempo, but because you're listening intently with finding out what this other being that comes from the cosmos, just like you, that's been here, just like you, that has no idea what they're doing, just like you, has found something that works for them. And they're offering you one of their keys of existence. How are you going to reject this key? Why do we do this as humans? Why do we reject these ideas and these keys? Because we don't like the word. We don't like the verbiage. We don't like the way the person looks. We don't like that they're younger than us. We don't like that they didn't even graduate school. We don't like whatever it is that attacks our insane ego that we feed it, force feed it all the time. That's what we do. The fact that we have this thing that creates so much resentment and anger and distrust and everything. Why do we hold on to this, right? Just figure out how to go into your brain and click it off, like unscrew that part, like what all the religious people did, and go, I don't need this part of my brain, and throw it away and get rid of it and adjust your sails for smoothness, right? To get to paradise, do these things. It's very, very easy. So this, and guys, this is the difficult part about it. Okay. And I'll get back into the good, fun, animated squirrel on crack stuff, but this is what it is. You cannot create a false reality out of the idea of a bullshit idea to fit the other version of what it is that you want. Okay. And what I mean by that is I have some good friends of mine that decided to move, right? And the place that they're moving to is the car theft capital of the world. Okay. Now, this is not the real situation, but I'm not trying to put all their stuff out. If they hear it, then yes, I'm talking about you for sure. But example, say, guys, again, context is important. Okay. So they just decide like, hey, I got to move here. Now, we're not going to get into the real reasons or anything, but just consider, if you say I'm moving here for my car, but the place you're moving to is the #1 car theft capital of the world, does that make any type of sense or sound like that's a logistical move? If you're out there with me right now, I hope you're saying hell no and shaking your head, because that just doesn't make any sense. However, if you want to pretend and erase the fact that it's a physical, proven fact that this is the car theft capital of the world, you just want to erase that and pretend like that's not a thing just for other reasons that you want to move there, then say those reasons and don't create this false narrative or false version, because this is where your conflicts and these things come up. So if you don't already know this, and I'm not even going to apologize, you should go to the mirror and apologize to yourself for this. I've done it dozens of times. I'm sure I'll do it dozens of times more in the future. You need to go and apologize to yourself for all the arguments and all the confusion and all of those things that you've ever created in your life. Because the only way that you can have these things happen is if you're allowing yourself to go into things with friction. And I say it this way very, very intently because Brian Parker, thank you for joining us, man. So he was with me out in Florida and saw this in action. And when I was talking to people about Mistech, it was one of two versions. Either they were trying to hear what I had to say, and I would pour my entire heart and soul and love into this person and try to get them as full of as much information as possible, or the people were just being egotistical, narcissistic maniacs and weren't trying to hear anything. And instead of letting myself get frustrated and argue and everything, I said, okay, hey, have a great day. I hope something else works out for you. And you don't have to let yourself get caught up in the madness and chaos of the 24/7, 9-to-5 programmed people. You have that option not to do that, but you can only do that if you're speaking your ultimate truth. And this is what I mean. For my friends that are talking about this car thing, right? If in the event something should happen and your car gets stolen, well, then obviously you didn't move there for your car. Now, if you didn't lie about that and exaggerate to make that fit your dynamic of what you want, then myself or anyone else that's out there that knows this would not have anything to say, I told you so about. And the fact that you already know this is what I mean by speaking the real ultimate truth, not the finagled version that makes it work the way that you want it, but the real ultimate truth. If you speak that, you will still make mistakes as a human, but you'll be able to apologize and move on and grow from that. However, if you don't want to speak those truths, you will get confused and you will create false information. And the moment someone, calls you out for this false information, you will become defensive because you want to solidify the reason for what you're doing, but what you conveyed was not the truth. So now you have to grasp at a million different straws to try to repaint this picture with a bunch of brushes that don't have paint on them. They're covered in shit. So I tell people, you don't, flush that down the toilet. You don't need that shit. But there's other shit out there you need to have. But there's two very differences of what those are. And so the ultimate truth will always be simple, they'll always resonate, and it will always be a truth for every being that's actually living for life. Okay, now this is what I mean when I say living for life. Again, my friend, we've been going over all these different metaphysical things and scientific things, and she said something to me that I hadn't considered. And hopefully this will resonate with some people out there. So there's in this big woke conscious movement, right? And this is what I mean when I say context, guys, think of this. There's spirituality and then there's metaphysics. And they do really go hand in hand. But I promise you right now, if you're out there on the air, maybe it was you or maybe someone else out in who knows where in digital land. When I said one of those two words, some people smiled to one of the words and some people cringed to some of the words. And some people did the exact opposite for those words, but they're the same thing, just opposite sides of the exact same coin. Metaphysics is the math and the numbers and the science of the why. Spirituality is the exact same thing, but it has the emotional, colorful component to it. So at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing as just speaking two different languages. And, with Artists First, I know you guys are, all around the world, but I'm in America. So if you're in America, essentially you speak English, or if you talk to people in America, they'll say you speak American because that's how unintelligent. Anyways, so If you're doing that and you hear the word roja, you can be like, I don't know what that is. Why would you say that? And get angry and upset. And this is a person that's just trying to convey the color red. That's all they're trying to say. That's the context of what they're trying to say. Now, if you're listening and you're looking for the magic, right? And I say the magic because you're magic. I'm magic, as energy, as these divine beings that we are inside this fleshy suit. We are walking, talking magic. We are walking, talking plants. We are walking, talking computers. And whether you like that or not, within the context of what I'm talking to you guys about right now, all of that is 100,000% true. Now, how would you make your computer run better? You would defrag it so the clutter's gone and the system works faster. You know how you do that as a human? You meditate. You defrag your brain. It will work faster, right? If you want to have more memory, you have to go in and take it apart and create room. So instead of filling your brain with all this extra nonsense and watching what's going on in a reality show and worrying about what so-and-so is doing and all that, that's creating more space and more clutter. You got to go in and get that crap gone, and then you have more space in your biological computer, right? You want plants to grow, you got to water them, you got to give them sunlight. So you need to go outside, you need to get lots of water, you need to get lots of sunlight, and you need to be grounded. So again, all these things, guys, within the context of the example, there's secrets hidden throughout all of them. And within the Jedi alchemic practice, one of the hidden keys within the Jedi arts, as it is the double meaning. The double meanings will always reveal ultimate truths. So if there's something you hear that can be applied to physics and to you as a human, that has to be an ultimate truth, because it gets rid of all of the extra, right? So alchemy is the energetic version of chemistry, if you will. And just like the way that you would do chemistry, right? You break everything down to its base form. And then once it gets to its base form, you build and combine from there. So get rid of all the crap, get rid of all the words, get rid of all the things from the religions and from the Bibles and from the books and all those things, and get down to the base form of what it is. And all of them. God is within you. You will do greater things. You have these powers. These are all the things that are there, that are at your fingertips, but we're not programmed. We're not triggered to have the responses, to see the math, to see the patterns, to see the magic that is always around us all the time. So, YouTube, Stephen, being able to get rid of negative energy seems super important now more than ever. Yes, perfect. Okay, man, good. I love when we're all in tune. So Stephen with us on the YouTube channel, orderofalchemy.org. If you guys got a chance, jump in and get into the chat. But he said being able to get rid of negative energy seems super important now more than ever because of society, our ability to create such a large amount of negative energy. And that is 100,000% dead on. And what's really cool, I don't want you guys to hear this and be like, yeah, it sucks. I want you to be excited about this because, again, we're alchemists. So anything that's out there, alchemy is the idea, pattern, practicality, manipulation of equivalent exchange. So that means for all of this negativity that's out there, for all the chaos, for all the crazy, your job while you are here is to go out there and grab it and take it back and transmute it back into positive, great energy. Right. So when I was talking with Pan about all these things that we can do as alchemists, and if people out there and you disagree, please join in the chat. I don't really believe in the concept of good and evil. I believe in balance. I believe in positive and negative. I believe in good and take, like give and take. These are the way that the universe and physics work. There's positive charges and there's negative charges. Oddly enough, that's how we refer to people depending on their mood. And really all that is, guys, again, context. This is a double meaning. Look for these things. That positive person is positively charging you with their energy. This negative person is charging you with their negative energy. Now, it's not good or evil. What it is giving in abundance and then also taking in abundance. This is the way the toroidal field of all of the universes work. It's a constant loop of things that continue to come and go and come and go. So let's say that there are these other entities or aliens or whatever word is okay for you to say without getting upset. Context, guys, please, context. That this is something that tries to consume the human souls. Okay, now because we are currently in our state these radiant beings of light, we are on the side of life and abundance and light and energy. That's us. So if something's trying to consume that, the consuming part would seem like an evil, like an attack. But that's the way that this thing survives. That's the way that this thing is programmed. This is the way that this thing is being. So it could be malicious to us, and we could say in context, like, this thing is evil, but this is the way that it survives. In the same way that you're consuming your chicken right now at home. You must be evil because you're eating a living. No, this is how you operate. And eventually your being will decompose and it will go into being consumed. And again, through the Taurus guys of constant changing, eventually you will even experience at an energetic level being on what we would say malicious, consuming, negative, dark entity side of things, until that energy gets re-toroidal back into being a positive being of light again. You will have all of the experiences and all the things. And when you program yourself to really think of it in this context, you won't see these negative, angry, evil things as attacks. Now, I'm not saying that there's not evil out there, and I'm not saying that there's not bad out there. There definitely is. I'm saying there's no energies that are innately that way. Everything is about what us as humans use and manipulate and our intent behind it. So when I talk about, looking and listening for the magic, it's intentional finding of the good at all times. And by good, I mean the positive as my carbon base for what I need to survive, but not at the cost of other life. That's what's so important that we keep missing out on, and what we attack. We attack what we don't understand. And so let's say that our planet, right? This is cool. My son was talking about this today. He's 10. Let's say our planet has its physical body, which is where we are right now. And then it also has an energy body, which for all energy to exist, there has to be a life force behind it. So I'm not saying consider, just understand the earth has its own life force. Now, as we attack it physically, because it's all interconnected, we're attacking also its energetic force. But we don't care because that's what we do. But the ancients, right? And if you meditate long enough, remember far enough back, watch enough movies, you'll see these people eons ago that we call savages had this amazing way of living symbiotically with the planet, not only to the point where they weren't destroying and taking it down, they built gigantic biometric sacred spaces to amplify the Earth's energy and draw that into themselves to be able to do even greater, more powerful works. And you can do those things now. And whether you want to call it magic, spirituality, metaphysics, energy, physics, it all is the exact same thing. It's just different levels of understanding and different things that we have access to throughout our humanoid existence since we've been here on this planet for X amount of small, minuscule amounts of time. So if there's something out there that you're curious about, literally approach it with the openness. And still, guys, I'm not saying go in blindly and get ripped off and get blinded by. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying don't listen to what other people tell you is good or bad. Go into it with an open eye, with an open mind, and really look at it for what it is. And okay, I apologize. Mom, I'm going to use this example. So when I was at Beloved, right, the most magical place that you will find on this planet currently, Beloved Festival, check it out. When we were on our way out there, right, and if you're new to the show, once upon a time, I was a youth pastor. And Brian Parker, spiritual vampires, absolutely. That's what I was talking. They're spiritual. Those are a real thing. And I hate to say this, but from what I know now, when I was a youth pastor, I was one of those energy vampires. You know, that's what we do. We take people's energy away from them and say, give it to this guy and good things will happen. And you know, sometimes it does, most of the time. Anyways, so going from a Christian background, which I love everybody. So I don't want this to sound like an attack, but I'm talking about context and the real of it. Most of the Christians I've come across since I've been out of the Christian world are the most judgmental, finger pointing, blah, blah, blah. You're evil to everybody else that's not within that realm. Now, I'm not saying it's across the board. There's exceptions to every rule, but that seems to unfortunately kind of be the norm. So as we're getting ready to go up to Beloved, a place of spirituality and love and understanding and acceptance and growth and all these things, because certain people don't understand what that dynamic looks like, and they come from an idea of prejudging, looking for the negative, looking for something to complain about, looking for something to point and shake a finger at. You know, even when I first went, I'd get messages about, be careful while you're up there. Don't let them seduce you. Don't get taken. All these things, right? Because that's what they're looking for. That's what they see. But then you get up there, and it doesn't matter what it is you're looking for. You're here now. You're forced to see with a real lens that these are the most loving, caring, considerate, enthusiastic, exciting, loving, healing gods on the planet. There's no way you could go and be around these type of people and feel any level of maliciousness, bad. But if you're going there with your Jesus goggles on, you might see some demons. You might. So there's people that I know I have in my life, you know, a few times a week or a month or whatever, that almost every time we meet and have a conversation, no matter what I say. And for all the people out there listening that can't do this because they're on the radio, if you would, thank you for not doing it and being on the radio. But no matter what I say, there's an argument for it, or there's a better version, or there's a whatever. Now, interestingly enough, there's other people that come and see me all the time at the Saturday market in Portland, or call in and ask me for, what are the secrets to make you so happy? And how can I do this? And how can I not sleep? And here, just do this. And 2 weeks later, they're calling me, life's changed, everything's great. But then I have other people that no matter what I say, it's an argument. And well, no, that's not really right. And well, you could do, I don't understand this. This is someone that is looking with the lens of, I'm better than everybody else and I have a better idea than everybody else. I'm going to listen to how you talk so I can reply and then crap all over it. And here's the thing, guys, I do it too. And you probably do it too. And we all could do better. And that's what I mean. Because if you're going into these same conversations, listening with an open ear and listening for how this could be applied to your life, if you're talking with someone that really does have your best interests at heart, that's how it will be conveyed. And that is what they mean. And so, yes, Topper. So guys, if you're not in the channel, this is very funny. Topper said the answer is trust Halo. Thank you for that. I'm thank you so much. One of the rules within the company for a very long time, it was comedic, but rule number one was always listen to Halo. Now, here's the funny thing, surprise, I listen to that rule as well, because my name is Halo, but when I say it, I like to have acronyms, right? So Halo actually stands for Higher Ascended Listening Observers, whether you want to call it your guides, your higher self, if you want to go with God, whatever version that word is for you, you want to say it's your future self, all those things with the thing along the way is irrelevant. It makes no difference at all. That's where you become nitpicky. What's the end result? Does the end result sound benevolent? Does it sound the best thing for your higher good? Then don't worry about the little words and details along the way. Absorb the context. If you do that, you'll look for the magic. You will look for the programmed response, the trigger, right? So if you're new to the show, I literally all the time have no idea what it is I'm really doing. I just do what the voices tell me to do, and everything always works out. Now, I say it this way because I know what I'm thinking about, and I know what I'm capable of. I know what I've studied. I know what I've researched. But there's so many times, and I'm telling you guys, really dig deep and think about this in yourself, that, and without your ego, that there are ideas, that there are words, that there are contextual things that will just come to you when you're not even thinking about it. Those are your halos, not me. Those are your halos. Those are your guides, your higher good. That's there offering this to you like an echo through the cosmos of, this is what you should do. This is where you should be looking. And if you follow that thing, it doesn't always lead to you to where you think, yes, this is what it is. You have to invest. You have to want to do this. Okay. And this is what I mean when I say want. I don't mean like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, please, I want to do that. That's not what I mean. I mean, when we're done tonight, Okay. And hopefully you do some homework. You know, this is a really big thing to me. We do the show once a week, but it really is about applying this every single day for 7 days and seeing where you're at. And next week, jump on with me. We'll find out about something else to apply, see how that works. And I'm not saying it's always going to be, but the stuff that does, use it. If not, transform it, transmute it, whatever you need, right? Do those things. So when you're programming and you're listening to your higher self, there is no doubt. There is no question. There is no fear. You go into it knowing that this is how it's supposed to be, and you execute it how it's supposed to be. Not in hopes, not in we'll see, knowing that this is exactly how it's supposed to be. But you have to continue through and follow all the way through execution. Okay? Put down your social media. Stop asking all of the idiots around you, and I'm probably one of them, for validation. You know what you know. You do. And if you don't know, then that's okay. But come to terms with you don't know, and then go find the information that you need to have. When you hear someone say you are divine and you are free and you are sovereign, when you hear that, don't cringe and go, I don't know what that means. Even if you don't know, don't let those negative aspects of those words even fall into your body. Don't, because it will get in there and it will reverberate through your being and create all these extra things that you do not need. Say, I don't know, with confidence and with excitement, knowing that you have a supercomputer in your pocket. It's 2018, and you can look up anything that you want if you want to. But again, want. I don't mean want. We're getting back to this homework. I have to repeat it because I need this to be really driven in. Tonight, when we get off at about 9 o'clock, I want you to try to hold your breath as long as you possibly can and plug your nose and really try to do it. And even as you're fighting for your breath and you're trying to grasp all those things, and then finally when that comes out, what I need you to understand is all these things I'm talking about, you have to want it that bad the way that you're fighting for this next breath. When you want it that bad, your program will stick. The magic will be everywhere around you when that's what you want. If you don't want to see the magic, it won't be there. It'll be a bunch of woo-woo and a bunch of crap because that's what you're turning it into with your divine creator self. Yeah, that's what you can do. You have that ability. But you also have the ability to go, wow, this could really work in my favor if I do it the right way. Yeah, it could, but it's just going to take more time and a lot more discipline. And unfortunately, you know, we're in this moment to moment to moment. I want everything right now. So the ability of working towards something just doesn't seem realistic if you can't see it at the end. Now, what does that look like? Because again, we're talking about looking for stuff. So when we say until the end, are we talking about the end of completion and reaching that? Or are we talking about the end when your little cocoon body is done and you move on? See, context is a really, really big deal. But it depends on what you're listening for, right? So with the idea of listening for, guys, we've got about 17 minutes left, and it's been awesome. Thank you, guys. What I want to do really quick is just, you know, lighten it up a little bit and give you guys a heads up sometime within the next week, and then we'll get back into looking and listening. I got a couple other little practices for you, but I'm going to be coming on Artist First as a musician, as an artist from doing music back when I was rapping and doing lyrical content. So I'm going to give you guys a quick little snippet of a song called Digital Dimension. It's a mixtape thing that I had just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing. And I'll keep you updated on the show here in next week when it's going to be airing. So this is me, guys. Once upon a time, about 5 years ago, Halo Marquise, Digital Dimension. Relax, take a breath, enjoy it. I'll see you guys in about 30, 45 seconds. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. We'll work on it. Yep. Hey, thank you. So that was Digital Dimension by Moi, Once Upon a Time. And I'm planning on doing some music again really soon. So here's the thing. If you guys did not hear all that, go back and listen to it, but listen with the intent of looking for magic. And this is what I mean. There's lots of different little acronyms and examples and all these things hidden within the lyrical content of what I was just playing. And if you go to YouTube, you can look me up, Halo Marquise, Digital Dimension. Here's some of the music there. But this is another thing about music, guys. When you're listening to this music, all right, you might not realize this, but you are programming your responses to everything in your life, everything. So if you talk to certain people that have like a real smooth dress, right, and they carry themselves a certain way, and you'd be like, man, that's probably a ladies' man, old play. I promise you, they spent the last 10 to 15 years listening to some old R&B, some old Boys to Men, some 112. They listen to this over and over and over, and they don't even realize it. It's programming their brain to have these type of responses when they get into their day-to-day. This is why it's so important that you're actively participating in every moment of everything that you're doing, because you never know what it is that you're programming or being programmed to respond to. Now, interestingly enough, once you, I guess, dissect the idea that you do have triggers, whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. Just acknowledge that you have them. Be real, 100,000% authentic with your true self, right? If you're out there and you like broccoli, you know, again, context, guys, then eat your broccoli. Don't worry if people don't like it. Like, do it. If that works for you, do that thing. But if you're doing something just because everyone else is doing it, but there's no benefit, then maybe take that away for a couple of days and see if there's not something more fulfilling that you can fill into your life, right? So if you're out and you see someone and they make eye contact with you and you're looking for a problem, if you're looking for a disconnect, if you're looking for someone that wants to rub you the wrong way, I don't care who the person is. I don't care if it's an old lady, if it's a little kid. That's what you're going to see coming back at you. If you're looking for another human being that's decent and loving and kind and that they want to connect with you, you'll find those people. And you'll find them in almost every single person. But it has to be active on your part first, right? We have to stop being lazy and waiting for other people to do the work for us. Go out there and dig deep. You don't need a coach. You don't need my show. You need to take enough deep breaths to be tired of all this crap you're dealing with all the time and take this lead and turn it into gold that you can give out abundantly to every single person that you have around you. And if you can't do that, that's an okay thing. Come to terms with that and work on yourself. But it has to be something that you're doing every single day. Everyone out there, everyone, if you've had a job at some point in your life, you've gone through a degree of training. Now, here's what's interesting. During that training, your brain is very open and you learn all sorts of amazing types of information that you actively attempt to retain as much as possible, because getting that dollar bill is very important to your value system, right? You get your bills paid and you will run your body through physical stress, your brain through mental stress, your spirit through spiritual stress, just to get this dollar bill that's going to disappear from you the moment you get it, just so you can go back and do it again. And all of that work and all of that effort and all of that intent is totally acceptable for you to be trained, told what to do, programmed, and so on. However, when it comes to, well, you're not going to get paid for this, you're just going to feel amazing. You're not going to get paid for this. You're going to have more peace of mind. You're not going to be paid for this, but you're going to live longer, because the rest of the world around you doesn't put a value really on that like they do for the dollar. Then it's not important to you. And you'll get around to it eventually. And you'll maybe look for the magic in these trainings and these ideas and these offerings, and they're never going to come because you're not looking for it, right? You're walking around looking for a penny to pick up, or looking for a quarter to pick up, or looking for $1 to pick up. But in that exact same mindset, you will also be the same person that will not stop to smell the roses. Now, I'm going to tell you an interesting scientific fact. Your body has all these amazing senses, right? And one of them is smell. Your smell is the main sense that's tied to memory. It has a direct impact on the way that your brain works. So when you smell certain things like essential oils, or in this example, roses, those chemicals going through your brain actually create and produce a large amount of serotonin and oxytocin that will relieve stress and induce happiness and relaxation throughout the entire body. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds way more valuable than a penny. It sounds way more valuable than $1. And here's the thing, to stop, bend over, pick up any of those things, that requires stress, stopping, mental commitment, physical exercise, all these things to get this one thing that in the long run doesn't really have much of a benefit to you at all. However, just stopping to smell the roses or stopping to meditate doesn't really require a lot of stress of any kind, shape, or form at all, except for the judgment of other morons that are out there that for some reason we all care about. And I'm myself included, guys. I say these words to really make the impact. I don't mean moron. I'm talking about the context of just lack of intelligence and lack of follow through and just being in the program. And that's okay. But until these words are strong enough and are powerful enough to break down these walls, it's never going to happen. And the thing is, guys, the people around you, me, we don't know what we don't know. So don't ever feel bad for introducing something to someone. You never know what that person doesn't know. And you don't know how long it's going to take for your information. If you're doing it out of benevolence, out of love, out of light, out of helping them, you don't know how long it's going to take for that residual energy to reverberate back into their brain and click the light on. But I apologize to tell you that you absolutely are responsible for every other human being on this planet. You are. For every creature, for every plant, for everything. You really are responsible for it. And if we all treated these things this way and we were looking for the divine and the magic in all of these things, we would treat each other much better. And being honest, we treat ourselves way better. And until you start treating yourself in your divine form as you are, and all powerful and all loving, and respect this amazing character that you are, then you're never going to be able to treat other people the way that they deserve to be treated as well. I was talking with my son earlier today, and he was telling me that, once I transcend this 3D plane, I'll be in a place of better angels, is actually the way that he said it. And I looked at him for a second, and I said, Amante, dude, that's really intelligent for 10, but I have to tell you that I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, maybe I'll be around more tangibly powerful things or more loving things, but I don't think I could ever be around better anything, because you out there in Radio Land, listen to this to me right now, the same way I told my son, you are the best version of you possible. No one could ever do you better than you're doing you. So no matter where you go, you're not going to find better people. Everyone is the best version of themselves. What you will find is different things that serve you at different paths of your journey. They're not good or better. They're just at different times, offering different types of value. Now, when you look at things that way, and rule number 3, right? Rule number 1, always listen to Halo. Rule number 3 is if it's a rule for everything. So if you are wanting to be accepted and treated as something divine, then you need to treat other people that same way. If you want to consider that every person, right, guys, look for the magic. If you're doing that and you're looking for the greatest good in every other person, you have to also be presenting your greatest good so they can see that when they're looking for it. So when you wake up in the morning, have a conversation with yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself that you, whether you want to use spirituality or not, I don't care about that stuff. I don't, guys. I care about the context. Tell yourself that you are the most amazing you. You are this person. And if you feel like that doesn't resonate correctly, then tilt your head and look at a different perspective and go, oh, you're right there. You're the one that needs to go out and read this book today so you can be the better version. If it's not true today, make sure it's true tomorrow. If you have to fake it till you make it, that's okay. The context is what you're after. You want to have your higher self. You want to have your best self. That's what you want. If that's what you want to see out there, then that's what you need to present. But know that when you're talking with a child, this child is talking to you from a place of far less judgment than you're talking to them. So consider that they might know more of what they're talking about than what you're judging them to what they'll be talking about. And really listen to what they're saying. And you'll find all these little miraculous, insane, simple epiphanic moments that you'll get from children. And they're looking through the lens of how amazing is this world? Isn't that the lens that you guys all want to be looking through? Isn't that the lens that you would want your children to be looking through, your neighbor to be looking through, to see the beauty and the love and the magic? Because guys, all the crap and terrible negativity and dark, it's there. It's going to be there. It's balance. That's the way it works. And if you don't want that to be a thing, then it's your job as a human, as a light worker, to be that counterbalance and bring that to the table and bring your flaming sword and bring your aura blade and bring your magic and bring all the things that make you so uniquely, incredibly you, and throw it up all over the world as much as you can. Literally do that. Put it out all over the place, because everyone else is doing it with their negativity. And when you do it with your balance, people go, why are you doing that? And when they ask you why, ask them why they're not. And it's interesting. Anytime you want to get down to the base root of another person, ask the question that they asked you back to them and see the answer that they were looking for. Right? Because then you're listening to actually listen. Because I don't know about you, but I don't know the answers to everything. I can make the best estimated guess and educated guess that I can, but I still don't know all the stuff. So if someone's asking me something and I can give them the best version and then they respond right away with, well, blah, 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 don't even get to that point. Say, well, I don't know. What's your opinion on this? And then you'll find out if they really want to know what you know, or if they just want to tell you what they know. And when you know that, you can start separating those people from your life, so you can look for the magic without this big block of idiocity standing in your way. Right? Does that make sense? So, and don't do it from a place of judgment, right? This is a Loki original. So don't ever approach anything with any type of level of judgment, but always approach it looking for a wonderfully fun level of entertainment. And if you do that, you won't come down angry. You won't come down hard. You won't come down malicious or talking down or any of those things. You will literally meet everything with a smile and find the good and the love and the entertainment and the growth out of it, right? If there's entertainment, that means something has to enter in, right? And then attainment. So the things that are entering, they will become attained by you. So if you're looking to be entertained from every being that you come across, you will constantly be entering into attaining these magical things that all the beings around you have to offer. Guys, I'm Halo Marquise. This is Alchemy 101 on Artist First and orderofalchemy.org on YouTube. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Please do the homework tonight. Go back and check out some of these other videos. Please like the page, make a share. And next week, I'll be with you guys again from an amazing place with all sorts of new things. Now, we don't know what that is, but the context is what I want you guys to be looking for next week. I love you. Be better humans. This is Halo Marquise. Good night.